the Love Yourself podcast, a podcast to help you love and simplify living. Well, welcome to today's episode. We're going to be discussing the nature of life, and it's a really important episode to actually digest. I believe that, I found that once you understand the nature of something and understand like the laws and the rules that govern it, then life becomes quite simple and easy. And I realized that everything has a certain nature to it. You've got a relationship with everything. I've got a relationship with everything. We've all got relationships with everything. We've got relationships with life, with people, with happiness, with sadness, with success, with wealth, with productivity, with our creator. Our life is all based on relationships, and the quality and success of our relationship is dependent on, this is my belief, on how we actually, or whether we actually understand the nature of what we have a relationship with. So for instance, if you are happy, if you're experiencing happiness, it's most probably that you understand the nature of happiness and you're actually following the laws that govern it. Same with sadness. If you're sad, you probably subconsciously really understood the nature of sadness and you're just following the laws that govern it, and that's why it's manifesting in your life. For instance, why do you find people couples that fell madly in love with each other, and you have some couples a couple of years later or 20 years later, they're still madly in love with each other and really happy, and other couples aren't? The couples that are happy probably understood the nature of one another, and the couples that aren't happy, one or both parties in that relationship didn't really understand the nature of one another, and something quite beautiful turned into something quite bitter. So that's the example I always use about understanding the nature of things. But once you actually clicks that everything has got a nature to it and there's certain rules and laws that govern it, then you just start looking out for the nature of what you want in your life, or the nature of that relationship, and that really heals and creates a healthy relationship with whatever you're interacting with. So it's really important, I believe, to understand the nature of three things. Once you understand the nature of these three things, then life becomes so much more simpler and easy and happier to live once you understand the nature of these three things. And then you can go on to understand the nature of happiness, wealth, success, productivity. They're really important, but the three most important things to understand the nature of is the nature of life here and earth, the nature of who you really are, you the observer of your life, and the nature of your mind. Once you understand that, then everything starts to get much easier, God willing. That's what I found, and that's what I find with my clients. And so today's podcast is all about understanding the nature of life, and then God willing, the following podcast will be on your mind and understanding the observer, who you really are. So the first thing to know about the nature of life is to step back from the illusion that the mind often portrays, is that life is perfect. Life here is not perfect. The nature of life here is not about perfection. It's not about perfection. The nature of life here is about progression and happiness in this life. If you're happy, when you're happy, it's because you're progressing in something. And happiness is often experienced when you're not progressing in an area or in a few areas in your life. So human beings, when they're flowing with the nature, when they're flowing with life, they experience, this kind of inner joy and inner peace, and that's all about progressing. And so when the mind throws at you that, you're meant to be perfect and your life is meant to be perfect, and your business and your family and even your spirituality, you're meant to be perfect and all these things, it's not true. It's not true. Life is all about progression, and you're never going to reach that state of being perfect. So for instance, in my spirituality, I'll find times that I'm really spiritual and I'm doing my spiritual practices, and then I'll find times that I've really progressed, and I'll find times that I'll slip. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason that I've slipped, and the reason is because as a human being, I didn't come here to be perfect. I came here to progress. And when I slip, then I get back up again. I get even stronger. There's a reason for that, for it to progress even more. The year after, God willing, when we're all in paradise, please God, then that's all about perfection. But here, only God Almighty is perfect. So once that clicks, that's, that makes things so much more simpler, and that weight is lifted off your shoulder. That, oh, you know what? I'm gonna stop believing this illusion that I should be perfect and my life should be perfect and I should look perfect and all these things that my mind throws at me, or even sometimes society throws at me, and I'm just gonna work on progressing. Well, that's really nice. That's the first thing that's that changes your life. That's really nice. And then is to understand the nature of life even deeper. So it's not about perfection, it's about progression. But then life here on earth, there are also states. There are 4 states that I've defined that I believe that we're always going to alternate in between. And these states are really, really important. The presence of them is really important in our life, because they help us to progress, and they help us to really find that inner strength and inner peace. They're really needed in order for us to progress in life. But once you're aware of that these states, that you are inevitably going to go through these states, when you're actually in the states, you don't, it's not as if you don't know what's hit you. You know exactly what's going on, and you can work with them rather than work against them. So let's go through these 4 states. The first state is you're going to go through a state of being, a time where you're really happy. And by the way, these states, they could be throughout the year, or they could, or throughout your life, and there are no specific order. So the order that I'm saying them in, they could come into your life into different, in different orders and in different in different measurements. So for instance, there is a state of challenges. You could go through, so for instance, a challenge is subjective anyway, and everything's subjective. But you could go through, just feeling slightly uncomfortable. They don't have to be really big, challenges. But you could go things that you find a bit, trying, a bit, you're out of your comfort zone. So that's just something to note. So the first state is happy. There's going to be times in your life where that you're happy, that you're that it's a happy time where everything around you is going well. Your family's going well, your work's going well. Thank God a billion times. Everything is just going. It's a happy time. There may be some gatherings, some weddings, some engagements, some graduations. It's just a happy time moving into a new house. It's just happy times. Now the rule here is to acknowledge that you're in a happy time, and when you acknowledge that you're in a happy state, allow yourself to be happy, because often what the mind does is it says, oh, you know what, it's too good to be true, it's going to go, or something's going to go wrong, or I don't deserve this. And it really tries to pull you out of this happy state. And it's essential for you to really enjoy being in this happy state and to really to make the most of it, because number one, it actually energizes you for the state that, for the other states. Like for instance, it energizes you for when you may go through challenges later on, for instance, or even later on in your life, or even later on in the year. Like I said, the challenges don't have to be that big. It's just you being out of your comfort zone. And it's also very good for you. Challenges are really good for you, and we're going to go through that as well. But the rule for when you're in a happy state is just to be happy. It's literally just to be happy. And if your mind throws thoughts at you, that make you unhappy, or for instance, you're just not used to being happy and you try to make problems when happiness is around, it's really getting yourself out of that habit and really enjoy the moment, enjoy that state, be in a state of gratitude, really thank God and really enjoy it, because it fills up your batteries, like I said, for the other states. And also here you learn things about yourself that you probably may not learn in the other states. So for instance, when you learn a lot about yourself when things are really going well. So it's really about, digging deep and reflecting on your life and thinking, okay, things are really going to go well. How am I going to deal with all these blessings? Am I gonna like become a little bit arrogant and think, become a little bit arrogant and not treat people as nicely as I was, when I didn't have all these blessings around? Or am I going to share all my blessings and share my love and the happiness that's in my life? I'm just going to bring happiness to other people's lives, and I'm just going to stay humble. It's really, it's really a time where you reflect on your character when things are going well, and you strengthen it, and you make it even, you shine even more, because you really direct yourself in a really positive way, and all the blessings that are showered on you, you use them in a really positive way. So that's when you're in a happy state. Now, the second state that you'll definitely, like I said, the four of them will all alternate between the four of them, is this, being in this time of challenges. And like I said, we're all going to go through challenges. They don't have to be severe, they don't have to be really like difficult challenges. But you will go through times in your life where you don't feel as, they're a bit more trying than the other states. And challenges can be different. So I've been through some really like severe challenges, and I've been through some light challenges. Severe or light, you're still going through a challenge. Yeah, you're still finding something's difficult. So the most important thing to know is that when you are in a challenging state, the rule here is to know that, God willing, it will pass. It will pass. I promise you. That is the rule of this state. That is the rule. That is one of the governing laws of this state, that it will pass. Day always follows night. Yeah, it's never night forever. It will pass. And my experience, and with my clients that I've observed their lives, challenges. And I'm not just saying this because sometimes you find some motivational speakers, and they say, challenges, there's blessings in challenges, and they'll motivate you and help you grow. And sometimes when you're going through a challenge, it's sometimes the last thing that you really want to hear. Well, couldn't I grow without this challenge? Well, I know what you're thinking, but honestly, from my point of view, looking back at the challenges in my life, they were the ones that really helped me progress in life. Like really, really, really. Like without them, it's difficult to say because they were difficult challenges, but without them, I don't think the Love Yourself movement would have been born. I don't think I would have been who I am today. I don't think I could have helped people all over the world, all my clients and people that listen to my videos and my podcasts. And I don't think I could have been in this position at many times without my challenges. So in my life, my challenges really, really put me, really like leaps and bounds helped me progress, because it's through your challenges where it's almost as if you're forced to look inside you and to bring out that inner strength that God Almighty has given you. You have to. So I want you to think of it like, for instance, you've got this inner strength inside you, but when things are going well and you're not as challenging, you're not really forced to actually get that strength out. It's like put to bed. But when the challenges arise, that's when you have to dig deeper. Right now, I've got to use this strength, and that strength will stay with you. It won't just stay with you with the state of challenge. It will stay with you for the rest of your life. You'll be a different person, literally a different person. So when you're in times of challenging, the most important thing to know, it will pass, because the mind will throw things at you that it's going to last forever. Challenges never last forever. They're there for a certain period of time to teach you something, to help you progress in leaps and bounds. This is where you jump to the next stage of your development, and to find out more about the real, beautiful, amazing you. And questions to ask yourself is, when you're going through challenging times, is, what do I need to learn about myself? Where's the strength inside me? What strength do I need to pull out inside me? And where's the miracle? Because challenges are always full of miracles, always full of miracles. And if you're going through a challenge, if you remove your focus, off the challenge and focus on, okay, it will pass, God willing. Yes. What do I need to learn? What strength inside me do I need to find and really dig deeper? And there's a miracle here that's unfolding. Let me just, concentrate on really trying to look for where the miracle is. God willing, God willing. And if you do that, you'll find so many miracles around you. You'll find so many blessings. And even if at the time, so there are some challenges where I can actually see the miracles and I can find my strength and I know. And there's some challenges where I can't really, at that present moment in time, when I'm going through the challenge, I can't see the miracles unfolding around me. And that's when I really pray and I think, please God, show me the miracles. And in time, what will happen is, as I find my strength, as the challenges help me progress, I'll begin to see the miracles. They'll begin to unfold. When God Almighty wants me to see them, I'll begin to see them. So that's really important. The challenges, even though you think that why me, they're really important for your progression in life. That state. Now, the next state is also really important, is the state of rest. There'll be times in your life or in the year where there's nothing going on. It's quite boring. There's nothing going on. There's not an excess of happiness. There's not an excess of challenges. You're not busy. There's just nothing going on. And again, it's really important to take advantage of this time and just to rest, to allow yourself to rest. Because what the mind will do here is the mind will say, well, you're not doing enough and everybody else is doing more and you should be doing more. What are you doing with your life? No. When you're in the state of rest, just rest. And stating of rest could come in different forms. Like my state of rest came when I became, before the Love Yourself movement, I became quite, I wasn't well and I was literally forced to rest. And my mind kept on jumping and saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you resting? Everybody else is moving. What are you doing with your life? And then when I just let go. I just let go of everything my mind was saying. And I just said, you know what? God is great. There's a reason why I'm not very well at this moment of time. And it's probably a reason why it's because God wants me to rest and really reflect in my life. And once I allowed myself to rest, that's when things started to really change. I allowed myself to rest, and then I really started to reflect on my life. And here also I progressed so much because I realized what I was focusing on, what I wasn't focusing on, where I wanted to go, where I didn't want to go. This time of rest really helped me to reflect on where I wanted to move, where I wanted to move next in my life. And it energized me for the state that came after it. Like I said, the states aren't in order, but normally what happens is when you really acknowledge and you take advantage of your happy times energize you and give you recharge your batteries for the challenging times. And in the challenging times, the challenging times are really a time where there's gonna be leaps of progression there. And times of rest, that's another time, another state where you're recharging your batteries for the next state, which is when you're busy. So it's really important in times of rest to let yourself rest, to let yourself just take it easy and rest. If you've got a holiday, take the holiday. Don't work when you're on a holiday if you don't need to. Just rest. Just rest. If you're, for instance, you're off sick for a day or two, just rest. Just rest. Let yourself rest. For me, I was off sick for a couple of months, And it wasn't until like a month and a half in that I actually said no to my mind, and I said, no, you know what, I'm going to rest. And that's when really, things changed. So that's the third state. The governing law there is just to let yourself rest. And the fourth state is going to be times when in your life when you're really busy. When you're busy, when you're busy, again, thank God a billion times things are going well, but you're really, you're busy. You're busy. And the governing law for this one is, enjoy the business. Again, it's a time of progression. It's a time of learning. Your mind will throw at you things like, oh, you're not busy enough, and other people are more busy. Just focus on your business, and whatever is in front of you, whatever you've been given, yes, do it really well. So don't focus on being, more busy, or that other people are busier than you. Just whatever God sends you, whatever is at hand, do it really well. Do it really, really well. And then whatever's to follow will follow beautifully. And follow beautifully. Really, really, really. The law here is just whatever you're given, whatever work you're given, whatever you're busy in, just do it really, really, really well. And if you actually, and those are the four states, and if you actually are aware of these four states, when you're in the time of happy, and you're aware that these four states, the reason for these four states is for you to progress, God willing, because the nature of life is about progression, not perfection, then you can actually experience inner peace, with each and every one of these states. You won't be going against the tide anymore. You'll be moving with your life rather than trying to resist it. So when you're happy, you just let yourself be happy. When you have your challenges, just you know that they're not going to be around forever, God willing. They will pass, God willing. And it's a time where you're going to really find your inner strength and qualities that were just, that were laid to bed, and you're just going to bring them alive. And this is a time where, you're going to just jump in leaps and bounds in terms of your personal development and progression. Rest, your progression here is when you allow yourself to rest. When you really allow yourself to rest, then you'll have like these awakenings. You'll reflect in your life, and you'll really have these awakenings of where you want to go and how you want to progress, and what you've been doing right and what you've been doing, not to your advantage. And then being busy, it's really the art of learning how to not let your mind say that you should be more busy or whatever. It's just the art of doing whatever you've been given, to do it really well and progressing as a human being. Because isn't that beautiful that whatever you take on, you decide that you're going to do the best and you're going to do it really well? That's progression itself, isn't it? So those are the four states, and that's the nature of life that I've defined. It's certainly really helped my life, and it's helped my clients' lives to actually know about them and be aware of them. And you just move through your life so much more smoothly, and you move in a state of progression and inner peace. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I will see you in the next podcast. If you have any queries about one-to-one life and life coaching and relationship mentoring with me, kindly go to my website, www.loveyourselfguru.co.uk, and I will see you in the next podcast. I love you loads. Have a brilliant, beautiful, absolutely amazing day.